Sexo! Hola! Hello! Now that I know that you have primary attentions, this trick of the sexo, sex, for English people, only works one time. So you have lost the way to get attention from people. So I will try to speak a bit loud because I have a quite loud speaking. And I'm going to talk today about React, Redux, a development workflow. How many of you are familiar with React? Sparta! Ahoo! 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 How many of you are familiar with Redux? How many of you are really, really familiar with Redux? Cool. So, our sponsors, an important one, Lemoncode. No, well. And about us, my name is Braulio. I come from South Spain, Malaga. Well, I'm a JavaScript developer coming from the .NET background, you know. How many of you come from the .NET background? How many of you come from Spain? And I'm a TypeScript fan, so that's quite bad, isn't it? I don't have a Mac, and I like TypeScript. How many TypeScript developers in this room? How many Flow developers? How many ECMAScript 6 developers? How many Choskis developers? Kellogg's Choskis, the new technology. Hype. And I would like to present Wojtek. Wojtek he's a JavaScript developer, clean coder, functional programmer aficionado, because he's a young guy and his mind goes fast. We old people, we are just getting up to speed with functional programming. And what is our Twitter account, GitHub, and that stuff. Let's get started. Redux. Redux is powerful. At least some people say that, and you just jump into the next cool thing. More things. Redux is complex. Do you agree on that? Too many pieces. You get everything quite well organized, but it takes some time to get to it. Hey, Yakni, you ain't gonna need it. Oh, no, sorry. Dan, please, come back. Okay. So Dan Abramos says that don't use Redux unless you try local component and say that you were dissatisfied. Sometimes we just use Redux for very simple pages. Maybe we don't need it. So the thing is, probably you don't need Redux now, you will need it in the future. Do you remember the old days with MVC, MVVM, all that stuff? When you saw the shit beep in the code behind and you say, you cannot incorporate now the pattern. You should have a start from scratch. Okay, so that's something that doesn't happen with Redux. How many of you have kids? Children? Okay, the rest, you are too young to understand this. I'm going to make like Dora the Explorer, Dora la Exploradora. El mapa, I'm the map, I'm the map. You know it. Cool. So when we develop here, we want to save time and we want to fail fast. What do we make? First, we start with the React UI, the user interface. We have a container, and we have, I don't know if you can read it there, maybe in the screen, but you have hard-coded data. And you check that, at least you get the data showing us you were expecting. I'm the map, check, back. Okay, we have built the right layout and the components hierarchy. Next step, hey, let's replace that by a call to a REST API or whatever. And we check that with real data, we get the real thing, not bad. Now is the moment where your manager or project manager, Scrum Master, whatever, say, ship it. That's that. Okay, but you are a good developer and you realize that maybe your page is too complex and you need to add Redux. That's the time where you replace this React container and you add your action reducers and the Redux container. And check. Next time, if there is older people, I will make you sing, I'm the map, I'm the map. But I think you are not quite motivated for that. You are young. You will realize that in some years, sooner than later. Okay, so now it's come to the demo time. So, since I'm a TypeScript developer, for sure we will be nervous, something like that, and we have fucked up the project and those things, I'm going to type JavaScript in real time. So if something happens, I will make like in the movies. Is any JavaScript developer in the room? Whoa! Come here on time. Whoa! Okay, so let's start with the demo. Any JavaScript developer, please? I'm the manager. Okay, so can you see the fonts? It's big enough? So you are young and you cannot see these fonts. Dora la Exploradora. Okay, let's make this a bit bigger. Let's try this. Let's open source. Okay, let me give it a try. Okay, cool. So what we have created is something quite easy. It's just, let me check. Let's do this smaller. This as well. Okay, can you read the source code now? No? Bigger? Bigger. It's okay now? Hey, give me an A. Hey, give me an A. Okay, cool. One thing that I forgot to mention is that I can make things bigger. Okay, so we have something pretty easy. We have a list of members that we get from GitHub, and we have a simple stateless component to display that list of members. In the real programming world, we wouldn't start by that, but just because we have 40 minutes, we have started just having the component already there. So now we want to check how does it feel without going through all the pain of building all the stuff. So first thing that we do is create a React container. In this React container, we have a mock avatar PNG. And now we can create some data. We have a state, we have a list of members, and we can just create something silly, something like ID, it's one, login, dot, let's say, Jaime, and avatar, URL, same as it have stuff. It's our default avatar. So far, so good. Ah, something works. I managed to type. I'm good. I'm a programmer. Okay, so next step. Let's add some extra mock data. Ah, do you remember the thing of the comma? If you place a comma, that's magic and it didn't crash. How many times have you screwed up because of this fucking comma? Oh, fucking. Of this disgusting comma. Hands up. Real programmers. Long life to the comma. Long life to liter. Cool. Let's add some more data here. So we have ID2. And let's add, for instance, Tommy Hitler. No, Tommy Hilfiger. So we got it here. And now, I don't know, let's place Danny. And ID3. And hey, we got the data. That's cool. So far, so good. Now comes the time you say, check. Next thing, I need to connect with the REST API. Cool. Now I don't want to change my component. So I have the container. So next thing is to go to the REST API. We have something implemented. It's just hitting APG hub. That was funny. I connected with my mobile phone because it's screwing up on the internet here. That was something cool. And we make a fetch, and we get just a list of members that belong to Lemoncode. Okay, it's time to import this. And we only need to make something like here. Import from. It's quite funny when you type in front of people because you realize you don't know a shit. Okay. I have to place some macro that basically nice and automatic, and that's fine. Okay, we have REST API there, and we have here. Ah, my mouse. We have something. I think it's fetch members. If it will crash, we will work together. We have a special offer, so we have a workshop here of JavaScript. We will make it together. Okay, so we have here fetch members. Oh, I'm the wrong thing. Oh, sorry about that. Shit. Shit happens. No problem. Let's take it here. Let's go to the container. Now we replace this hard-coded state thing with just a fetch member. Tac. Let's see. The font is quite big. Hold on a second. Well, I make it here, but I should make it in the fetch members. Well, I'm going to place this as empty. Now we have no data. And now here I'm going to call just fetch members, .then, whatever. Typo, where is the typo? Ah, fet. It's because it's in Valenciano, you know, the local language. Fet is done in... Hello, Valencia. Fetch member, then we get the members. Thanks, we have JavaScript developers in this room, so that's pretty cool. Okay, and now let's make something like this dot set state. What's something like that, isn't it? And let's play the state. Now, hello to people from Catalonia. See? We will start with the Japanese. Oh no, Techisu, don't talk about that. Okay. Not a good day for making such jokes. So the state, there's something wrong. One more. This one. Cool. And let me check. Oh shit, I'm just pissing off. Something like that. Okay, and then we say members, and well, I will place here members as well, isn't it? Okay, now we have members. And let's save it. And oh my God, what happened here? Any JavaScript developer in this room? Where is the parenthesis missing? Oh shit, that's a good one. Another pain in the. That's why I use TypeScript, you know. Fetch member, thank you. Really welcome. Okay, and we get the real data. So it's good to break it in the small steps because you won't piss off less. Okay, let's go for the next demo. So that's fine. You know you have this cool flow and it works the first week. But what happens when you have already Redux in there and you need to add an update? So let's go for the next thing is that our Scrum Master says something like, you know, we need there the list of repositories as well. I have just a vision for God, and now I know that we did it. Let's open this, the next demo. Okay. I have to close the other one, I guess. And let's start this. And now in this case, okay, yes, you are totally right. Local 3001, that saved my life most of the time. If not, I have to go killing processes in Windows, and you Mac developers will start laughing and say, you don't have a real computer to develop, you know. So next time, click yes, quick. Okay, so now here, let me check. I have already created a simple component for the repo list item. Oh, it's a lot of design there. Okay, so I will start in the same way. I have my organization container, and I'm going to rename this to inner organization container. Oh, crashes, oh my God. Change the port again. Yeah, that's something, oh shit, sorry. Really good, thank you. Export cons, inner organization. Yeah, I want to keep the inner. I want to keep it failing because I will write my organization container. That is something like export class, organization container, extends, component. Somebody tell me that it's better to type the code, then you make more errors. Then it's constructor, we get the props. Now we call super props, whatever. We initialize state, and let's place it something like repos We get a list of repos. Ah, comma, sorry about that. And now let's call it something called fetch repos. That's function. And let's add some mock repos. Repos, whatever, object, ID1, name, going to the Moon project, and ID2, name, hello, ooh, hello, React Alicante project. Let's see if I manage to type it fine. Something fuck up? Oh yeah, you're right. Missing set state. That's a good point. This dot set state, and let's add this. Let's add the repos here. Missing what? Sorry.
Missing a random function.
A random function. Lambda, where? Not yet. Ah, okay, cool. Not yet. Ooh. Okay. So now we got this. We got the render function. Yeah, you're totally right. We have to render this component, and here we will add the render. And let's type it like const render whatever. Missing the fat arrow here, maybe. Yeah. Sorry? Oh, render, yes, render, isn't it? Okay, let's go for render. We have the render, and now we just instantiate the organization component. Return organization component. Let's place the markup here. And let's add our properties. That's the repos. And this property just will hold the repos state. That's cool. And now let's go for the fetch repos. That is this dot fetch repos. Cool. So now we have this upper container. We get something wrong here already. Sorry? Inner, sorry. We have to render the inner container, not the organization component. That's something that doesn't exist. Okay, let me check. Inner organization container. Sorry, we need to, that was a bad one. I made a mistake because now we have created a temporary container and we have to render the inner organization container. Now it's time to pass the properties down to our organization component. So now here in the state, I ask for onProps, so I get the properties from the parent. And I just dump these props here. Cool. Now let's go to the component side. Now in the component side, we have our organization component, and let's add here our list of members and fetch, repos and fetch repos. I'm going to copy paste this. This is going to be quite dangerous. I'm going to introduce a lot of errors for sure. But, well, repos, fetch repos. Cool. Now let's create our UL with a list of, and now designers, don't take a look at this. That's pretty bad. No designer is in the room. Okay, that's a standard HTML. Okay, let's add a list here. And instead of members, let's just go for repos. We get the repo. We get the repo list item that we have already created. And we have repo ID. And we should get something empty still. Because we are missing, sorry, here is repo as well. And repo. Cool. We get it empty because we are missing to call from the parent here the this.props.fetch repos. Let's see, cross fingers. Hey, it's working. So in this way, we can manage to go step by step and just making failures on small changes. Can you imagine me, yes, that I have so 6 fingers, typing this demo from scratch in this talk, everything, I will fuck up I will screw up for sure, sorry. Okay, so that was my part. Now, I don't know, how many of you were aware of, for instance, this on-props stuff? On-props. Okay, the ones that not, I think it's something really cool. And now, Wojtek likes to bang the head of the people. So now it's time for Wojtek to tell his thing, because he will say, I'm a functional programmer, you know. My curiosity is quite much higher, and I need to make something special. Wojtek is going to make something. So we are going to make something that Victoria, the organizer of this, this event, said, please, do not swap the laptops. Sorry. Okay, so Wojtek, your turn. In the meantime, I can sing a song. But since I sing in Spanish, when I screw up in a project, I go to the manager and I say something like, in a harbor, from Italy, loves our friend Marco. The Spanish people understand that. I don't know why English people, they don't watch Marco. Okay, so now I'm going to be, since we only have one microphone, I'm going to be quite together to Wojtek. Yeah, I will hold it as well. Okay, go ahead.
I would prefer to just hold
Okay, cool.
Okay, can you hear me well? Okay, nice to meet you all. So BRAULIO just showed you how to combine 2 things, Redux and standard React flow, that you don't need Redux from the scratch, and you can implement step by step, adding progressively Redux to your application, and you can fetch by standard means and then just add Redux to it. So I want to go one step further, and as you can see, we already introduced some functional components like this repo list items and member list item, and I like them. And the organization components look strangely in this flow, because it's component and suddenly we have different kind of component, and it just also renders data, so why should it be different? And I don't know how many of you are familiar with a library called Recompose? Yeah, that's quite a few, so that's nice. I hope you will learn something, and people who didn't know it will learn new tool in their toolset. So this library is just a set of higher order components. Do you know the concept of higher order components? Some people do, some people not. So maybe I will explain. It's just a component function that takes a component and returns enhanced component. So you can imagine it to be like it's a component. It takes a component and returns.
Let's see if it works.
Component. Yeah. So it would do just something like that, right? The description of it. Example of that is, for example, connect. So it takes a couple of initiators. It returns higher order components that whenever you put your component in, it will be enhanced with the state from the Redux. Yeah, and Recompose is a library that has set of these higher order components available for you. And one of these nice components is the Lifecycles. Why this class is?
Sorry about that.
This component is different from the others because we need the component in mount here, right? This is the only reason why it isn't a functional component. So I would like to extract this and not really have this here. And then we can have pure function here, right? Because it's only a render method that only takes data and that's it. So I will just, for now, remove this. I will change this to const and make it a pure function, right? Yeah, so now we don't have this, so I change all references. It starts to mess up. Okay, okay. We don't have. Okay. something like that, right? Right now, this is a pure component. To make it even better, we could make members and repos, right? And yeah. So we remove it. We have now pure functional component that just takes data and renders.
Go back, sorry.
We can even make it a shorthand arrow function, right? Yeah, it's nice. It looks much cleaner, but we miss the component in mount, right? So I don't know if I have. And, I will try to recompose. I hope I have already because I may not have internet. So and I forgot to save, but okay.
Wow, NPM installed.
Yeah, I hope
The internet from the hotel. Please, turn off the computers. You know that 30% of the internet traffic comes from Netflix and the rest from NPM install.
And that may make sense, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so it succeeded.
Living on edge, installing real time.
Yeah. Okay, so right now we have the library called Recompose available for us, and I will import Lifecycle higher order component, factory for higher order component. So what it does, it expects you to pass an object with your higher order, with your Lifecycle methods, and it's nice because it looks like this. So I can just copy paste what I had, and this will work. And yeah, something like that. Yeah. And now we created a higher order component that will mount fetch members and fetch repos on whatever it is mounted in. So maybe let's call it better like component 1. No. I call it fetch. Yeah, fetcher. Much better. So right now we have only component organization component or fetcher, and I can just something like this, and this will work. So because Lifecycle returns a wrapper, it returns a higher order component that expects us to pass a component, and it will enhance it with these Lifecycle methods. So let me prove it by showing you that this loaded. Yeah.
John Guy, worked the first time. Applause first. Respect for other guys. He should fail at least on time.
Yeah. So as you see, it fetched everything right from the scratch, and we separated right now the mounting and fetching from the component. So we have no pure rendering for components and separate component just for fetching. But I think this doesn't belong here, and I could just take it out even further, because as you can see, this component no longer needs fetch, right? It doesn't expect this in its props, so we can remove this also from its prop types. And let's do it on the container level. But
bigger phone, please.
Sure.
There are young people that cannot see the screen, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so how we see it now? So I just copy paste the fetcher, right? And we have this already connected Redux state. This should be familiar with, you have ever developed with Redux. This standard connect function and...
Sorry, my fault.
This standard connect function and component. So what you could do is write something like this, right? And this will work, right? But it looks awful, yeah? And as we go further, it goes deeper and deeper, right? You can imagine. But it failed to compile. Ah, yeah, I didn't make the imports. Okay. Okay, so it should work now. Yeah, it works, right? So we extracted whole fetching logic into our container. we do not no longer have this fetching inside a component, or components is only interested in data. So, but it looks bad. What is also what comes with Recompose is also a compose method. This standard functional method, it's same as in React Redux Compose. You could use it from React Redux, or you could use it from Lambda. I think both libraries have this function. So how it looks like, you just do something like that. And this is it. I think this is look much better right now. What? What?
Come here, my friend.
Okay.
Can somebody just press the button on that TV? Thank you.
Okay.
You have paid half the price, so you don't have right to see the rest of the talk. Sorry about that. Spanish hooligans.
Yeah. So as you can see, it still works. I may show you that it stopped working at some point, because I only have shown you that it constantly works. So when so it's not magic. Why it works? I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah, I knew something like this would come up. I have no idea why this works.
Any doctor in the room, please? Any JavaScript developer, sorry. Make the font bigger, please.
Yeah, but it is not, okay, this is this. We shouldn't have any data.
Maybe we have something already there.
No idea.
You know, Recompose is so smart.
So, believe me, this shouldn't work. So I will continue and assume this worked.
Exactly.
I have no
Let's go ahead.
way of knowing what happened. So, I think this looks nicer. We can call it better, not fetcher, but some initialize of method or provider, repos provider, and separate these two separate lifecycle methods, one that provides members, one that provides repos, and have both used separately. So we would have two enhancements here, which provide repos, provide members, and this would be nice. Because
Can you hear Wojtek? Nick? Oh, sorry. No.
So we would have here.
No? Right.
Okay. So you would have two separate methods that would that you could just call and compose the fetch members and fetch repos separately. So if you had any other component that required repos, you could just make the call there. And here you have this separation of concerns and nice separation because you can compose features. And to make it, what you can also do with Recompose, because this is only a lifecycle right now. There are a couple of more very useful helpers inside it. For example, a branch. A branch is just a function that expects you to pass a test. Test is something that expects props. It returns whatever it returns true or false. It will return its second argument. So let's say we return here false, and we return here div. Sorry, and okay.
Let me check.
No, just hold for a second.
Now?
Okay. So what I have done just now is that I made a branch, and it tests props. It always returns false. Sorry, true. If it's true, it returns the second component. So right now, we will always see loading. And essentially, I don't know. No, we don't have data.
At the fetcher.
Yeah, but
now it's working.
Patcher is not defined.
No worries.
It was provided. Thank you.
Off and now on.
Oh.
Oh, no battery. Oh, more emotion.
Oh, okay, it works now. Great. We have loading, right? So this function always turn true that we have loading, but let's check, for example, for repos length. And if we don't have any length, it should be loading. And whenever we get the data, apparently we don't get any data.
You have problem with your internet connection, maybe?
No, it fetched. So I have repo. Maybe it's not repos. Maybe it doesn't. It's
Repos, yeah.
Repos. Yeah. I didn't need the node because length is 0, so it's not to get a true from length 0. I need not, but because there's always table, so it's true. So it should always render a.
But you were rendering it if you had 0.
If I have made it false, it should render, right? Where is it? Here, it renders, right? So I should just have a function that returns on props true to have the loading. So you could just test for if there are any repos, if there is loading in progress in state. So most commonly, I would just have it in state. No, not this. Okay. Normally in state, I would have something like is loading repos called true, and this would switch in between, and this would display the loading, right? But I don't have to do the loading inside my component, and I have one common place for all the loaders or the stuff. So I can test on the layer of the container already what to display. There's also common, maybe not common, but there's very nice pattern I recently read about on Medium. It was about making the separate component how to say, a viable explanation how the front will look like. So you make a second pair of components that look exactly like this without any data. So everything is mocked. You don't even know what you will get, but you just display a component that will look very similar to what you would have the data. So when it loads, it looks like it loads very quickly. You just change to the data, and you don't show the loadings. You just have.
Sorry, my fault.
You just have another set of components that look like there are placeholders for when you don't have data. It's a great concept, and I recommend to reading about it on the post because it was great, and I didn't explain it enough. Yeah. So.
Let me check. Sorry about that again. Oh.
So there's only a couple of things that are in Recompose. What I mentioned before, that we lose lifecycle methods and we lose state. I only showed you how to deal with the lifecycle methods, but Recompose allows you also to deal with lack of the state, and it's very simple with state. I want to live code this again because it's going not my way. So I will just show you how it would look like in the ready example.
Cool.
So this is the title card. You can imagine this is.
Sorry, my fault. I'm making sabotage, you know.
So this is a title card. It has just a feature of being openable because in most cases, our UI that we don't want to store in Redux, UI stuff related, for example, opened, hovered, etc., we want to have in inner state. So this is one example, another where we would use class component instead of functional component. But again, the only reason this is not a functional component is that it has its inner state. And I think it looks nice, much nicer if we extract this inner state and with the helper method. Okay. So
Take it. No, you have to press it. Hold on. Yeah, but it works.
Okay, okay, great. So here you can see the same component. It is wrapped. It is wrapped with method called higher order component with state. What this with state does, it as a first argument, it tells you what state you will get. The second method is the method to operate on this state, and the third argument is it's the initial value of the state. So more or less, it's equivalent of this. False as is open is false. Toggle open is the sets. This toggle open is essentially this set open, right? Because we set state to some value, and here you have just method set open, and the only difference here is that in title I pass the function that calls it with the proper value, and that's it.
Black screen.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Any questions after that? I'm the man that is between the lunch and the lunch and the last talk. 2 more before lunch. Oh, no, then no. Then you can ask questions. No.
So no questions? Have you used reselect in map state props to improve React performance before? And do you find useful? Have you get any performance gain when I measured my application?
Yes, so I use reselect, I use Recompose, and I use Redux. So this can combine also with Lodash FP. And I haven't shown in my full example. I had prepared like the most full example that I was able to come up with. So I didn't have energy for that. But yeah, I did use reselect. I like it a lot. And the main benefit for me from the side is not the speed benefit, but the composability and the single place of change. Because I had so many times I had to change my state, and reselect helped me to offer it in a simple way that I just recommend anywhere if you use Redux. So if you don't know it yet, I recommend reselect.
Can we get your email so I have a few more questions? Somewhere on the board. Okay. Tonight.